Call this meeting to order. We have our public hearing. I'm going to open it up. 2026 budget starting at 6 p.m. Town manager, I'll give you the floor to start with. And anybody who has public comment, I got 5 people who are going to comment on the budget. I'll call you up one at a time. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to read the I'm going to read the budget message, and I'm going to turn so everybody. There's a lot of people in here, so I'll try to be loud enough for you all to hear it. Once I finish with the budget message, I think it'd probably be the best time to open up the public comment. So I'll just jump into this and go with the budget message. The proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26 is hereby presented in accordance with North Carolina Budget and Fiscal Control Act and North Carolina General Statutes. North Carolina law states that a balanced budget is to be presented to the governing body by June 1st and adopted by June 30th. The proposed budget will accommodate operations pertaining to water and sewer, as well as police, EMS, fire, sanitation, and recreation. The objective is to promote public wellness and safety while maintaining a low insurance service office or ISO rating in a responsible manner. Over the past year, we have seen a substantial increase in the cost of essential goods and services necessary to operate the town effectively in all departments. Inflationary pressures coupled with increased contractual obligations, rising fuel and utility costs, and necessary equipment upgrades have strained our operating budget. These cost escalations are not isolated, but are part of a broader regional and national trend affecting all municipalities. Our staff has worked diligently to identify and implement cost-saving measures across departments. Despite these efforts, the current budget projections indicate a shortfall that cannot be addressed through internal adjustments alone without compromising service levels that our residents depend on. After projecting operating cost increases and the critical need to provide public safety, including fire, police, and EMS, a tax increase of 8 cents per hundred of tax value is included in this document. Providing paramedic level service allows our EMS team to provide advanced life support, including medication administration, cardiac monitoring, and advanced airway management. These capabilities mean the difference between life and death in critical situations. Additional funding to support the paramedic level personnel, acquisition of advanced medical equipment, and potential modifications to our current EMS infrastructure are required. Ensuring that this need was met in a manner that is sustainable was a significant factor in the decision to increase the tax rate. This proposed tax increase is not a decision we take lightly. It represents a strategic investment in our community's safety, health, and long-term sustainability. An adjustment in the property tax rate will enable us to maintain essential services, meet our fiscal obligations, and ensure our residents have access to the high-quality emergency medical care they deserve. I am committed to transparency and accountability in this process. If approved, all revenues generated from this increase will be tracked and reported with clarity to ensure they are used exclusively for the intended public service enhancements. While revenues are expected to increase, capital needs continue to be a challenge. To address these needs, general fund balance will need to be appropriated in the amount of $54,337. The general fund is $2,991,320. The water and sewer fund is $1,264,169. And the sanitation fund, which is a pass-through account for household refuse and recycling, is $290,025. Special revenue funds from the sewer 6 improvement of $9,984,000. Excuse me, it looks like there may be a typo in here. We need to adjust.
It's 9.1. There's a one right there.
198?
9 million, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have to adjust that number. It is $9,198,450. Public safety building project of $2,500,000. Dam repairs project of $5,300,000. And water meter replacement project of $748,524 are also appropriated by this budget. The grand total for all funds is $22,292,488. Our fund balance is healthy at $1,608,459, of which $1,114,619 is unrestricted. Employee highlights. Overall, our departments are very conscientious about their budget. Yet at the same time, service to our residents remains a top priority regardless of funding. This has been done by creative thinking, planning of purchases, and having a conservative approach to normal operations. Ad valorem property tax collections. Tax collections were calculated based on a 98% collection rate. The town's proposed tax rate for the coming 25-26 year will increase by 8 cents per 100 in value. Powell bill funds, we have budgeted $50,000 for town-owned road improvements in this upcoming year. In conclusion, the fiscal year 25-26 balanced budget proposal is herein provided for your review and approval. This budget was made possible through a concerted team effort working together toward a shared vision. According to NCGS Chapter 159, Article 12, the town must hold a public hearing in regard to this budget, and it must be adopted by June 30th, 2025. The public hearing is scheduled for right here, right now. Thank you for your leadership and continued service to the people of Lake Waccamaw.
Thank you, Damon. All right, at this time, we will go into public comment. Again, you'll have 3 minutes. Come up, state your name, get at the podium, and Mr. Jeff Brown, he will be up first.
Evening, Matt.
Evening,
Councilmembers.
sir.
Thanks
How are
for
you?
taking the minutes this evening.
All right.
Name's Jeff Brown. I live at 896 Bellacoola Road. I get most of my news the old school way off the newspaper, News and Reporter, and town manager gave an interview to them and said that he wants transparency according to the News and Reporter. Is that correct?
No,
No?
I didn't give an interview.
Oh, okay.
I think that article was written based on this letter. I'm assuming.
Okay.
Because I hadn't given an interview.
Okay.
Actually, I was hit with an email about an hour and a half before the article came.
Well, and that's really what I'm here to talk about is everything's happening pretty short notice. 2 years ago, the tax rate was 20 cents on the 100, moved up to 22 cents on the 100, and now we're doing 8 cents on the 100. That's a 36% increase is what they're talking about in the newspaper. Plus, there's an increase in the water and sewer. So, my question is, the town's website's 2 years out of date. The current budget's not posted. So, how am I supposed to look at this year versus last year, what's proposed? It seems to me that it would be helpful to all the members of the community to have the current budget posted, as well as maybe the proposed budget, and maybe we can get some more input instead of 25 people, well, it's more than 25, but a bunch of people showing up on the last minute. Maybe we can get more informed decision and activity within the community if we increase or revamp that news website, sorry about that. So that's what I'm hoping for, is can we get something where we can look at it, have some time to dwell on it? I mean, we got a lot of numbers from the town manager real quick, and unless you got a minute to break them down, and think about it, I don't know what else, how to approach it. I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Karen Hall.
I wasn't sure I was going to be able to speak. Good evening, members of the town board, fellow residents, and community leaders. Tonight, I want to address the critical importance of transparency in the decisions involving our taxpayer monies. Taxpayer funds are the lifeblood of this town. We entrusted you with our hardworking taxpayer dollars. We expect every dollar to be spent wisely and to be done correctly. The fact is very simple. The North Carolina General Statute 143-517 states clearly that each county shall ensure that emergency medical services are provided to its citizens. The county in which we live and the county in which we pay taxes in, which is Columbus County, of course, is responsible by law for this service and should be charged with the management of that EMS fund. Lake Waccamaw is not following that law. The service is costing our small town hundreds of thousands of dollars in salaries, benefits, equipment, housing, etc. Our community is simply too small to absorb all that cost. And why should we? It is not our bill to foot. As a taxpaying citizen of Columbus County and a taxpaying citizen of Lake Waccamaw, we are asking that you go back to the county and ask them to do what they're supposed to do, what the law tells them to do. The law says they must fund the EMS services to our town just as they do to other towns in our county. You are the leaders, and you should stand up for the town of Lake Waccamaw by asking the county to do this for us. We have all heard of the impending tax increase from the county. I'm sure every landowner here has heard of it. And we know that the cost of EMS services has also been listed in a reason of why we need to raise the county taxes. So we're getting reasons to raise the county taxes, and now our town taxes are both the same things. Why should we be taxed twice for that service? Do not ask us to pay taxes in the county for services we're not receiving, and now ask them to pay in the town and we're still not receiving. The county's using that funds for something, but it's not coming to Lake Waccamaw. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. All right, Ms. Margaret Perez.
My concerns have been not fully addressed, but they have brought up the early points that need to be followed through on.
And yeah, well, we're gonna let do public speaking as far as the budget goes, and once we open our regular meeting, there's an item number 7 is discussion of the 2025 budget. That's when our commissioners, they'll speak on behalf of what they want to talk about. So right now, we're getting y'all's input, and then once the meeting's open, we get rolling, we'll do our talking, okay? All right, so you good, Ms. Margaret?
Well, so far.
Okay.
So far.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Ms. Donna Scott.
Thank you for listening to us and allowing us to speak. My name is Don Scott, 1004 Huntsville Drive. I have 3 questions. It's my understanding that there is a $9 million grant that we were awarded for water, a $9 million grant for sewer. And to my knowledge, there's no reason why that money can't be spent for the water and the sewer. And my third question is, would you be willing to take a position on the proposed 4,500 homes that are coming to our community?
All right, Mr. Chad Smith.
Chestnut, 705 Fleming Avenue. Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. Echoing what a lot of said here, our town charter says that the town will provide fire, not EMS. If we can't put it back on the county, how much money are we getting from the county? Is it zero, or is it what they're providing to every other municipality, and is it a shortfall we're looking to fund? Does the iOS rating include EMS or just fire? And then, what about, we've been talking for a while about short-term rental taxes, collecting it, and has there been any conversation, we're raising our taxes, but can we figure out a way to tax the people that don't live here with anywhere from a quarter of a penny to a half of a penny on a sales tax? It might be $8,000, it might be $80,000, we don't know, but that's a way that we could get some tax dollars of the people who don't live here. When, I've been trying for 25 odd years, but when and if Picket Point gets built out and those 900 homes or whatever, they start contributing to this, is there any way that some of us might not even be here or whatever like that, but between that revenue and we know that the county is going to do a reevaluation soon because they're in a shortfall, can we just at least have the idea thrown out there that maybe the 30 cent in the next year it goes up, whatever, that we can get some of that back as we add a base? And like Ms. Donna said, is there a statement being made for the town for or against? And what about the article where it said that the town will run water to them? Is that a misquoted idea? Not a bad idea if we can get the revenue without getting the voting population. I'm all for that, but there's just a lot of, the word of the night seems to be transparency and stuff, and I was going through the budget, and the one thing that is a major problem with a lot of people is where it says salaries and wages, it just says a number. It doesn't say if that's for one person or 10 people or whatever, and I think a lot of the budget items can be broken down into more line items and instead of like just their little broad items. All right? Thank y'all.
Thank you. Yeah. And real quick, talking about the development, let me go ahead and get this out of the way here. Lake Waccamaw, our ETJ goes to the power line at East Columbus High School. We have no say-so once you get to that power line at East Columbus High School. And number two, this is coming from all the Facebook warriors last night. Number two, this meeting was set in December of 2024, okay? We set our meetings beforehand. They're the second Tuesday of every month. So just because that meeting landed the same time as this one, this board or the mayor of Lake Waccamaw had nothing to do with it. Just wanted to get that out there before we go any further.
But does the town plan to run the water?
Does the town plan, right now there's too many unknowns. That project, 5, 7, may not even happen, maybe 20 years out. We don't know.
So nobody has.
We can't make a decision right now.
We've not said.
We've not said, they have came and sat down and talked to us, but we haven't committed to anything. And it's too early to make a commitment. That's where we're at on that. All right, I need a motion to close. Are we done with public hearing? Anybody else?
Can I just, one last thing
Yes, sir.
on that question? There was a video interview done with the developer, and that video interview with the developer, he mentioned that they met with us, and we talked about the shortcomings that we would face if we were to consider doing that in the future. And then he said how they were exploring other options, such as building their own wells or getting it from the county.
Right.
And, you know, where we left it was, we told them the limitations. There's no agreements, there was no understanding of providing anything. It was, they simply came in and said they were projecting this development, and could we? And we basically said we have to look into it, and then we checked with the engineers and told them where the limitations would be. I believe that interview is on the news reporter, and they did a real good job of covering that information, and it's literally coming from the source's mouth.
And like I say, you got people speculating about this and speculating about that. As mayor of Lake Waccamaw and as this board of commissioners sitting up here, Our concern is the town like Waccamaw. Ain't nothing we can do 2.5 miles outside city limits. Mr. Brooks?
I have a very specific question. One of the items you mentioned, I think it was public safety building project. What is that?
We need a new town hall. You look at the ceiling, we got.
$2 million. Isn't that what you said?
We're currently, that's what, yes, sir.
Yeah,
That was allocated by the state.
that's money that we already have.
You already have.
The state's already allocated that money to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that doesn't have anything
No,
to do
ma'am.
with the tax?
No, ma'am, it has nothing to do
Okay,
with taxes.
that's helpful. Thank you.
Nothing to do. All right,
What happened to mine?
you're gonna be on the regular public comment.
I'm good with that.
So, and there's still, yes, sir. If y'all wanted to talk, now you should have put your name in the pot.
I understand. Can I make one
Yes,
comment?
sir, go ahead.
Just to maybe piggyback some of the other comments, in the spirit of transparency, could you not in future budget years schedule the public comment 60 days away from the vote? I mean, it appears to me that the fact that you're voting tonight, and as general statute, this has got to go into effect in 20 days, this public comment is kind of mute.
The document wasn't done 60 days.
Yeah. The budget was just completed,
In the May.
yeah, in the May.
Right.
We'll look into that.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir. Yeah, this is how it's always done in the past, since I've been on this board. Every June meeting is a public hearing. I've been doing this way, I'm going on 12 years now.
Maybe it's time for change.
Maybe so.
And when, I'm saying when the meeting is. All I'm saying is when the all I'm saying is maybe it's time for change, Matt. Time to open that, even if it's 2 weeks before. Because I've been in Hennepin County budget, I know. And I know how tight it is. I'm not putting anybody down, but maybe it's time for change. You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'll get a chance to talk on.
Yes, sir, you coming on regular public comment. All right, that's everybody who had commented, who wanted to comment as far as the budget goes. And I'll need a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Frank, motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, now we're gonna call our regular town meeting to order. I need an adoption of the agenda. Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, please join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Terry, would you do the invocation for us, please?
Please join me in prayer. Our Father, we come to you tonight with heavy hearts with some of our town people, with the losses and some of the Anthony Jones's family and Jeff Marlowe's family. Please be with them, keep them in your care. Be with us tonight, help us to understand all the things that we can do better, and be with us to implement all the good things for this town. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, I need an approval of the minutes from May 13th board meeting and May 13th closed session.
We approve those minutes.
Second. Motion second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, now on to our regular meeting, public comment. And at this time, Mr. Jeff Lane, let you have the floor.
I'd like to say in 3 minutes, I won't start my time. Okay. The unique and rich biodiversity of Lake Waccamaw is well documented. While pretty much everyone agrees that Lake Waccamaw is what it is due to its neutral pH, not many understand why this is. In 1993, Dr. Cahoon released the results of a study where he calculated the chemical weathering of the limestone of the Bluff and North Shore would only contribute about 15% to the alkalinity in the lake. The Cahoon study was followed in 2000 by a report by Dr. Stan Ricks of the Waccamaw Drainage Basin. This report noted the Cahoon finding and cited evidence of a continuous and major flow of groundwater from the underlying Cretaceous peat formation into Big Creek. The report notes the alkalinity of the PD aquifer and identifies this as the predominant source of pH buffering Lake Waccamaw. Dr. Riggs' report addresses the pressure that development puts on groundwater resources and provides a cautionary statement that follows, and I quote, "If there is a decline in deep aquifer base flow through time, not only will this have a severe impact on rivers' low flow dynamics, but there will also be long-term decrease in water quality characteristics. As the Cretaceous aquifer base flow declines, decreased volumes of this basic water will result in overall increase in acidity within the lake and river waters. This change in water chemistry will threaten the biological uniqueness of Lake Waccamaw and the Waccamaw rivers as compared to most other North Carolina coastal systems. With time and loss of Cretaceous input into base flow, the Waccamaw River system will become another black water drainage. In other words, without the neutralizing effect of PD aquifer, Lake Waccamaw becomes a bare lake cemetery." In 2006, DENA released a report on the hydrology of the southern NC coastal plain that describes how pumping 3 million gallons of water a day from aquifers of Elizabethtown, White Lake, and Tar Heel produced overlapping cones of depression that now cover much of Bladen County. The DENA report also notes that cones of depression have formed in the PD aquifer underneath Whiteville as well as in Bladen and Brunswick County. The DENA report makes it clear that significant effects can result from groundwater extraction of the order of magnitude as you would expect from a development on the scale of the old Lake Waccamaw, of the old Lake Road development. Google will tell you that the average home uses about 300 gallons of water a day. Multiply this times 4,500 homes, proposed development consumes about 1.5 billion gallons of water daily and more with attendant commercial development. The question isn't whether the aquifer would be impacted, it will. The question is whether or not the resulting cone of depression would be significant enough to affect lake level and reduce pH buffer. Keep in mind Lake Waccamaw is an average of 3 foot deep and will be sensitive to even small changes in the aquifer. If the PD aquifer is lowered even a few feet in the vicinity of the lake, the impact on lake water quality and level could be dramatic. You don't have to look far to know that development isn't just coming, it's here. There's no one that should be more concerned about this than the town of Lake Waccamaw. If we don't take action to protect the aquifer at Lake Waccamaw now, this lake could be a much different place in just a few years.
Thank you, Jim.
Amen.
Mr. Jimmy Pierce.
I didn't make any notes, I'm just speaking from my heart. So, I'm Jimmy Pierce, been coming to Lake Waccamaw since as long as I can remember, when I was a little boy. My daddy, most of you knew him, Eddie Pierce, passed away 1.5 years or so ago. Now, if he was here tonight, we'd probably be looking at things different. But, that's okay. This board here, I trust this board. I know every one of them, I like them, I think that they're doing the best they can. So I'm not getting into a bunch of the reasons for the taxes. Now, my question would be on that, the increase would be, can we afford paramedics? Just not emotions, no emotions involved, just straight business. Can we afford the paramedics and the EMS system that we've got? If we can't, then we need to take a hard look at it, whether we keep it or not. Now, and don't get me wrong, you can say, well, one life's worth it. I agree with you, but you've got to be realistic about some things. Now, the bigger concern I've got at Lake Waccamaw, and I can say now that I live at Lake Waccamaw, 2 days. Just got my house finished, been here for 2 nights. I don't have hot water yet, but I got the house. So my question is, I got some bigger concerns. We're all worried about this, and it's true. And if we don't generate some income, then we're going to have to pay more money. If we want to keep Lake Waccamaw the way it is, it's going to cost us. But here's the thing, we're losing it already. And we got to do some things and be proactive to stop some stuff. Chad mentioned the 900 homes at Pickett Point. Who wants 900 homes at Pickett Point? The land on Pecan Lane. Both of those sites, who's to say that that won't be converted? We need to put some things in place to prevent that. We don't need to worry about the 4,500 homes out there. I don't want those either. But I'm more concerned with what's inside the town limits of Lake Waccamaw. Because that's going to happen too. Those of you that remember the episode over at Antioch Church where they were fighting, trying to build that development. Same man that's building that development, because he won that, owns Picket Point. So don't think he's not coming here. He's got dementia right now, but his business is still thriving and it will continue on. We need some things to stop that kind of stuff. We gotta put it in place first. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. And I think the world of him. This is not personal. Jerome Rooks, what he built on the canal, everybody had a fit. He did it because there was nothing the city could. Now there's stuff to stop it. We gotta get some stuff in place to stop this stuff before they come in. We can't compete with these billionaires. They got more money than the town does, and all of us put together. So we gotta put some things in place so it doesn't look as profitable to them. We need to have those things in place now. Those are the kind of things that we've gotta stop. We can't, I'm sure, you know, we're sitting there and everybody wants to beat up this board for this increase in taxes. Truth of the matter is, that's where we are. Everything's going up. Everybody in here knows that every prices on everything is going up. They didn't just come up with this number just to try to get extra money. We need this money. I'm sure we do it. I don't even know, but I'm sure they need this money to meet the budget. Now, we either got to do some sacrifices and cut some things, or we got to come up with some ways to generate income. You know, we got to think outside the box. And I'm not suggesting anything but things that we got to think about are just like the ball fields out there. Hey, it might come to a point where we need to have tournaments to generate money for the town. The town runs them. They take their revenue off of them. If you got kids doing something, the people are going to pay. They might fuss and complain, but they'll pay $10 to go see a ball game if it takes it. It may take some of that. If we want to keep the lake the way it is, we got to come up with some ways to generate income, or either we got to keep paying more money. Now that's not, and you think this is not going to happen, but the houses on the lake,
About 30 seconds, Jim.
the houses on the lake, most of them, if they're sold to people with a lot of money coming in and buying them. Think about what I'm saying. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, Miss Laura Bernstein, about the park bathrooms.
Hi, I know this is a big day, big meeting, we got a lot going on. This may seem like a small problem, but it's all of our problem, and that's the bathrooms at Elizabeth Brinkley Park. My name is Laura Bernstein, 200 Lakeshore Drive, Stocks residence actually, lucky enough to live there. I, born and raised in Lake Waccamaw, moved away, came back last year, very happy to be home. I have a 13-year-old daughter. She's been coming to the lake her whole life to visit her grandparents, Bill and Lorraine Bernstein. Y'all might know them. They moved to this town, about 50 years ago. Okay, they've been here a long time. Our family is very committed to this lake. We volunteer, we do a lot of things, and we love it here. That's why I came back. I want to live here forever. Now, when was the last time y'all went to the park? How often do you go? But my question to you is, when was the last time you actually used the bathroom when you were there? Many of you are going, I can see your faces right now. I don't either, and there's a reason for it. Currently, there's no stall separation between the toilets, meaning one person at a time is only allowed in the bathroom. They are not stocked with paper products or soap, including toilet paper and paper towels. There are small trash cans that are constantly overflowing with trash. The smell is, we won't get into it, worse than a porta potty. The way that they look, there is actual matter on the walls, on the ceilings, on the floors, okay? There are cracks and leaks, there's mold, mildew, dust, and dirt. What he was just saying about the ball games, I recently became a ball mom. Whole new world for me, oh my goodness. But the crowd that it brings to this lake and to that park is immense. I think it's a great idea what you're saying about bringing money in with the ball games. Regalwood does that successfully to generate money for their park, which is an outstanding park for that municipality. I've also visited the ballpark in Old Dock, which has outstanding bathrooms and is run in a much smaller than we are. Kind of all over the place, even though I made notes. Thank you for keeping up with me. I know that there's $40,000 in the Parks and Rec budget But as Chad was saying, there's no line items for specifics within this budget, so it's hard to determine if there is a cleaning or maintenance fee for those bathrooms already established. I would like to propose that a cleaning person comes in 1 day a week on Sundays to prepare for the week ahead. This would be a small dent in the $40,000 allotted. And my main question is, if we can cut that grass and make it look so pretty, why can we not keep those bathrooms clean? And one more anecdote, and I said that was it, one more thing. At the Gator Festival, we only had 2 porta potties. What was the total count on Gator Festival, Ginger Lachelle here? I'm not sure how many people were at Gator Festival.
There were
thousand.
There were like 6 or 9
6
porta
or 9
porta
hundred people?
potties. No, porta potties.
6 or 9 porta potties. Okay, there were 2 in the very middle. The other ones were kind of placed far around.
Right.
We still had many people from Gator Festival going over to those ballpark bathrooms because they were right by the kids area. So the small children needed to potty quick, needed to go to that area. No way I would allow, if I had a baby, no, not taking it in there. Anyway, we really need to get this underway. The moms, softball moms have been cleaning the bathrooms after we volunteered. And I don't believe that's fair. And now that softball and baseball's over, who's going to volunteer to do it? So, thank you so much. I know it's a big day. It's not just a bathroom. Okay, thanks y'all.
All right, Mr. Steve Ross, Robinson Avenue.
Steve Ross from Robinson Avenue, just coming back multiple times on the drainage system that we have over here. Drainage problems are all over town, and it just trying to find out where we are, why we're not moving forward, why after 2 years we're not, nothing seems to have been done. It appears that there's no maintenance been done on the drainage in over a decade. What are we doing to maintain the facilities that we have? Not near as big of a problem we're talking about of hundreds of people coming in, but if we can't maintain the infrastructure that's in place, how do we, as homeowners, how are we able to do it ourselves when it's a city's responsibility to take care of the drainage that's out there? So I'm just trying to, where are we on this drainage problem that has been there for months, 2 years, however long? And just see what is going on that project. We keep hearing about it, but we're not seeing it.
I'm gonna answer you right quick. Buddy Bird, we met with him. Buddy left the road, didn't plant his crops all the way to that ditch that belongs to Buddy Bird, the ditch that needs to be cleaned out. We're at his beck and call, hoping that he's gonna get the ditch cleaned out. Had a conversation with Buddy's son yesterday. They assured us before hurricane season gets here, that ditch will have some attention and will be cleaned out.
Mayor, I'm supposed to have a meeting with him, a follow-up meeting. He reached out to me, Cameron. But
Well, what about the rest of the town, I heard somebody say? Yeah. We're not, we don't clean privately owned ditches out. This is Buddy Bird's ditch. Buddy Bird's gonna come clean this ditch out as a favor to us. So, but as far as the ditch in y'all's backyard and everything, we don't do private ditch cleaning.
What about the water at the post office?
That's the state, that's Ken Clark. Give him a call about that.
DOT.
DOT.
The ditch that we're talking about, the town has a significant portion of an easement from the homeowners along that ditch.
We got a few of these, we don't have all of them.
We don't have all of them, no. There's three property owners that have not given easement, but there's 8, 10, I don't know exactly the number setting here, but there's a significant number that have provided an easement to the city, to the town, and part of that easement says, if you give us this easement, we will take care of this ditch, we will maintain it, we will keep it clean. Nothing's happened that we can see. Again, I've only been here for 3 years, so I'm fairly new. But from everybody that I've talked to, nothing is happening on that, nothing has happened on this. I realize there's a problem with the bird farm, but something needs to be done.
He has assured us that it was gonna get done before September, October hurricane
Hurricane season.
All right, anybody else with public comment? All right. No more discussion. Item number 7, discussion 2025-2026 budget. And I'm gonna open it up to the commissioners. If they got anything they want to say, Damon, if you got anything you need to come back to. You know, and I'm not gonna sit up here, I guess I can get started. I'm not gonna sit up here and make excuses about why we've done what we've done. It was a hard decision. We were in 2 different budget meetings almost all day long, throwing this around. We haven't had, you know, before last year when we raised the budget 2 cents last year, the taxes hadn't gone up in the town of Lake Waccamaw in over 20 years. And if y'all look on this board behind where you're standing, you can see where the rest of the county lays as far as tax on the 100. We're still at the bottom of the list. Okay? And when we're bidding out projects that that are costing us, like the well at the state park down here, well site number 4 that we're working on right now. During COVID, that well site was priced at $850,000 to $900,000.
Actually for 2.
For 2. Yeah, for 2.
And then they ended up
And
being
then we net-
1.2 million.
And then they end up being 1.2 million apiece, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, you go to the grocery store, your groceries are up, your eggs are up, your milks are up, your gas is up, your diesel fuel's up. You go to buy parts for your tractors, and everything's out the roof. We can't continue to hold on. We can't continue. And, my family runs a business, and I work for a pretty big business, Canal Wood. If we're working in the red, we'll throw the towel in. We're going to go under. We can't continue. So,
Mayor, I just want to add one thing since we are talking about the Wells project. There's discussion about the funding that we've gotten for water and sewer. All that money is spent. That's for projects that are.
The $9 million, all that money has been spent.
It's actually closer to 15 million.
Right.
And it's constant, all the projects that I give updates on, the wastewater treatment plant upgrades, the lift station upgrades, the replacement of pipes, the meter project, all of these things are that's what they were funded with. And that's money that was allotted by the state. And
That's
doesn't,
money that was
did
allotted
not,
by the state, right?
it's not in relation to the taxes.
Carl?
I would like to address the part about the EMS. I grew up in Regalwood, AEL. They took care of my dad like you would not believe. And it feels real good to know that I can get top of the line health care or care for my dad in about 5 minutes. That is why I am so supportive of trying to give our EMS the opportunity to be successful. That is the very first, I think, look around. There's not a lot of young ones in here. Someday we may need those people. And it's dear to my heart, and that is one of the main, I think, costs in our budget is with the EMS, and we're trying to make that profitable. If it does become profitable, which is what we're looking for, we can hope somewhere in the future we can make an adjustment on this 30 But I just want y'all to know where I stand, where my mind basically is on the EMS, and also too is to take the darn park out there that we've had for 20 years and get some work done to it. What is there for people my age to do here? Okay, and it's important to me that is how my priority is. Now, also mentioning, where did Miss Person? She left the bathrooms. I used to be the park director at Columbus County. You can clean the bathroom, and in 5 minutes, somebody else comes back behind you and messes it all up.
Yes, sir.
And from what I understand, we've got somebody now that is regularly,
Daily.
doing it. And they are, but again, like I'm saying, if I show up at 9 o'clock and then a family shows up to the park at can.
There's no way, someone please go check on that. I mean, there's actual stuff
I've
on
seen them there,
walls.
but I feel like, look, I mean, like.
It hasn't been deep cleaned, definitely. Someone may be changing the trash every day, but I find that very hard to
It's
believe.
important to me. What
Okay,
you
I
brought up.
appreciate that.
That is important to me.
I
That's
appreciate
where I
that.
stand on the budget.
Thank you.
Are we receiving, you mentioned that Videlco.
ADR.
And I do know Tabor City, for instance, the county pays for them. The county's paying for EMS. Why are we paying for our own?
Can I touch on that? Yes.
I would like,
It's, and I will say this, Chad hit on it when he was talking. We all get an equal piece. We all get the same thing. We're all contracted. The county, while they're held to the standard by the state, doesn't provide any services. They contract with others to provide those services. So we are one of those contractees that gets the funding from the county. But it by no means covers the footprint
know it
for
doesn't.
providing that service.
I
And so.
understand that, but do we get money from the county?
Yes, ma'am, there's a contracted amount for each, for both fire and EMS.
So before, we took it on 3 years ago, now we've been in the red for 3 years. They strategically placed each municipality in a certain area. They had ours at once. I suffered a heart attack and a broke back, and I got service just as quick as if they'd have been over there. So why did we decide to take it from the county?
We didn't take it from the county,
We accepted the responsibility of it.
Yes, sir, we did.
Why did we do that?
The board decided that they wanted to make that decision based on the fact that the service provider was no longer, their contract was pulled.
But it would have been
and there
up to
was-
the county
I
to
was
have done that.
speaking. You asked me a question, I want to answer your question. So just give me an opportunity. So basically, when 30's license was pulled, it's a question of response time and making sure that we can give the level of care and quality of care that we wanted, and that was something that was put in for consideration, because outside of us taking that responsibility, we were at the mercy of it being given to any other service provider, and not guaranteeing that we would have the response time or the quality and standard that we were hoping to have. So we decided to take that on, as a board, as they decided to do.
Hey, public comments over with, we're gonna move forward with the meeting. I'm sorry, we should've got it out there. Gary, what you got?
A couple things. One of the things that was brought up about being able to get additional income into there's been nobody on the board that's been more adamant than I have to try to get the occupancy tax back passed, and we have continued to ask the state to allow us to do that, because the state has to allow us to add that tax. So, and we still can't get that accomplished. So, not that we've given up, we will continue to give up. And by the way, there's a couple of us in this, because I have a bed and breakfast, and there's a couple of us that do pay occupancy tax, and the occupancy tax that's collected from the Airbnbs for anywhere is paid to, in Columbus County, is paid to the Columbus County, and that county gives that money directly to the Chamber of Commerce for publications or whatever they spend the money on. We don't get that opportunity, so we're still trying to get an occupancy tax passed for us here. We're still working on that. One of the things that I will say that it is a little bit different than the budget thing is that this board does not support and has not supported this development. So just so you know, we're all sitting here with the same feelings about this development. And also, I will tell you verbally that I have talked to Laverne Coleman personally, and Laverne Coleman is not in favor of this development. And he allowed me to say that publicly. So just so you know, there are people, but one of the things that y'all need to understand is this state is completely dedicated to growth. And virtually everything if you talk to anybody in any of these towns anywhere else, they're allowing all kinds of development and supporting it. And there isn't anything, if the state allows this development, if they pass all their tests and all the things that they need to do to be able to create this development via the state statutes, the county'd have, I mean, if the county denied it, they'd get sued. I mean, just so y'all know all that stuff, I'm just saying.
That the town doesn't have to give them water.
We're not. We are not. It's not on the board. So anyway, as far as the EMS is concerned, a lot of you know that I had a stroke of 3 years ago, and the EMS with the helicopter and everything else saved my life. EMS here in this town is very near and dear to my heart. And as far as I'm concerned, we have got to figure out how to continue to do that. And right now, the director of, the fire chief and the director of EMS is doing everything he can to be able to figure out ways to continue to get more income coming into the EMS project. And if some of the things that he's working on right now get pulled off, we'll be able to resend some of this tax money, because ultimately we will reduce it. But you gotta understand, we're one of two towns in this county that has all the public services. One of two that pays it out of the tax revenue. The only other one is Tabor City, and if you look up there, that's 60 cents this year. For this year, I don't know what they'll pass going forward. So we're working as hard as we can to keep this thing as reasonable as we can, but we want to keep it safe. It's near and dear to my heart to keep you all safe.
Thank you, Terry. Mr. Frank, what you got, buddy?
Well, I'd just like to say something about what Carl was talking about. I wish that all of you people would quit wanting to do get rid of the EMS as a factor of helping us out in the budget. That is a very important part of this town and this county. Of course, myself on the board, as long as I'm on the board, I'll do everything I can to keep it in place. It's a very important factor. I don't have a, so like he's had, but I was on one, the rescue squad, the fire department for about 25 years. I know the ins and outs. Well, they don't waste no money because they have to have that. So I would like for all you people to think about it. It seems like every time we mention something about the budget, a lot of us say, well, let's do away with the EMS. We don't really need it. That's not so. I'll support Carl in that. Going back to the restrooms out here, I wish we could afford to have somebody out there all the time. Until we get somebody that can afford to put somebody out there all the time, this mess is going to go on and on and on.
That has been addressed, Mr. Frank, the town employees and checking the bathrooms. And that started about, what, a month ago? 2 months ago?
Basically what happened was, when the youth sports has kind of changed who's been operating these programs. The town normally used to donate facilities and without charging these organizations any fees or anything. They utilize the concession stands, we don't charge any fees. The lights, no fees, maintenance of the grounds. It's our donation to contributing to the community because we don't have a recreation department. What's happened is kind of the evolution or change of command in those operational structures where they're not the same people in place any longer, and they're not able to do the things that used to be done, for whatever reasons, whether they have restrictions for, work or obligations where they don't have as much time as the previous people that were involved in it. And so they've asked for more responsibility from the town. There's been, so there was kind of they would pick it up during the season, and then we would pick up afterwards and kind of a handoff. And that kind of broke down this year. And so what we decided was, with that breakdown in communication and the understanding there must have been some reason that they didn't understand that same system that had been in place for pretty much as long as the organization had been there. We just decided we do it ourselves, and that way we will take it on. So we have a person that was about mid-season, that goes out there every morning, checks the bathrooms, cleans the bathrooms, tries to, replaces the paper products, the soap, and checks everything around there, as well as dumping the trash. And so that's what we've been doing since mid-season. And we're going to continue to do it when the season's over, because those restrooms are public. So while the programs are now done, we'll have a consistency. But what we're doing now is all the products and everything for the maintenance of the bathrooms are actually kept on site in the upper part of the backstop. And so every morning, Public Works takes care of that.
Every day, someone goes out to that bathroom and restocks it.
Yes, ma'am. Public
Okay.
comment's over with. We're done with
Sorry.
public comment. Thank you. All right, thank you for that. Ms. Franklin, you done? You done what you need to do? Okay.
I just want one last thing. I will say, I want to say this. I hope I'm not out of bounds with saying this. During this process that we've all made these difficult decisions, as far as, we sat here for hours and days crunching numbers, and we didn't come here lightly as far as just mamby-pamby or raising numbers just for the sake of raising numbers. Every one of you all, really worked hard in determining, we came to the point where we've stretched the dollar as far as we absolutely could stretch a dollar. And I'm proud of what we've been able to do, for these years as far as doing so. But what we all realized is we reached an impasse where the dollar couldn't be stretched any further. And we were going backwards. And as you said earlier, Mayor, if you're in the red, you're going backwards. And so the problem is, if we don't adjust, if we don't do what's necessary to make sure that we can fund these services for the town, then we're going to, and as everyone said, you have to make a decision. Are you going to cut services and cut programs, and you're going to cut staffing, and you're going to cut back? Or are you going to make the financial adjustment needed to keep those services and manpower and resources available? While we discussed that our tax is going up, and it was, done in a way that made it seem very dramatic, because it says 36%. And that is, it's eye-catching, and I see how the public is in here, because when they hear that, their eyebrows go up, and they're like, oh, that's excessive. What we have to look at is the fact that where we were was at 22%, and anyone that was even near us that was providing the services that we were providing started at 52%, or 52 cents, and some of them are at 60 cents. So while I understand that the public is upset, and I get that, because I look at it when we were doing this as like I would my mother. She's on a fixed income or retired. She doesn't have any other resources. She's got to make do with what she has. So that's how I broached the subject. And I think we've done all we can do. But the harsh reality was, for us to continue and be sustainable, as I stated earlier, we have to make the hard decisions. You all, as appointed officials, had to make the hard decisions so we could be sustainable into the future. And that's why this very difficult decision to increase the tax rate had to be done for us to continue on.
Need a motion? Need a motion to approve the budget?
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget.
Motion by Terry Littrell, second by Frank Carroll. All in favor? Any opposed? Budget passes. All right, item number 8, approval of 2025-26 fee schedule.
All right, typically the fee schedule is included in the budget as part of the budget ordinance. The state recommends now that the fee schedule be a completely separate document, and you have that before you. Included in the fee schedule is us taking back over tax collections and also us taking back over building inspections.
Right.
Which is generating revenue.
Right.
Correct.
And as you mentioned when we were discussing the budget, that's what your goal is to try to find ways that we can increase the revenue sources.
Any discussion on that?
Make a motion that we approve the new fee schedule.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, item number 9, discussion of 2024-25 budget amendments.
As the year proceeds, we have things that come up. We had to purchase a new fire truck to stay in compliance and keep our ISO rating low. We also had to purchase the public works service truck and a few other items that have created the need for adjustments to the budget. You all have those before you. Do you have any questions for us?
And I'd like to add just, the reason they're not budgeted for is they weren't planned. These were not something that were planned. They were, you had a vehicle that failed and had to be replaced. And so we had to make and I want to give the fire chief, I want to, tell him how, that I appreciate his efforts, because the man went to Pennsylvania to find a vehicle that's $1 million vehicle when it's new off the line, and we were able to get this vehicle that is it's being lettered up right now, and it's not brand new, but it is like new, and he found an amazing one, and we got it for $70,000. And anyone that looks in here that, look, when we find something like that, we're very thankful. When you're talking about a piece of equipment that costs that much.
And if we didn't have that new truck,
You'd have people in town paying for their homeowners insurance, what people out of town are paying, because their ISO ratings would go up. And I don't know of any, you all that lived here back before in 2014, before when the fire department was closed, you know what that kind of rate increase would do to And so what we're doing is ensuring, and I'm not going to go, I will do it, I'll try to do the best justice I can do, but I'm not fire chief, but what you have to take into consideration, one of the things that was asked earlier was ISO. ISO takes into effect not only fire and EMS, but it also takes into effect the public works. All of those things combined. So all of these factors for when we improve the sewer system or the water system, or upgrade a piece of equipment for the fire department, or our capabilities for pumping water, the amount of gallons of water they can put on a scene at a time. All of those things are factors that come into the ISO rating. And so we would have actually lost 2 points on our ISO rating minimum if we hadn't replaced that vehicle, because our pump capacity is diminished.
Need a motion?
all right. Motion on item number 9.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget amendment.
Motion is second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, Ms. Meredith, give us our finance reports.
Okay, let me dig it out, sir, I'm sorry. All right, we received 99% of property taxes so far that we have accounted for from the county, and 100% of vehicle taxes that we were anticipating. Moving right along to the revenue expenditures reports. Do you all have any questions at this point? Okay. Well, that is all I have for you tonight.
Damon?
Got a couple things for you tonight as far as for my report. Talked to the state property office today. We should be getting approval by the end of the week for the easement for the power for well site 4. The previous easement that we had for the project did not cover, the power source tapping into the power source exceeded that easement, so they're saying we should have it by the end of the week, which is great news, because the last time we had to wait on that easement for them to give it to us for the permanent site, it took over a year, and that's where the price went for that project from about $860,000 to $1.2 million. So that's great news. We should be able to proceed with tying into the power. The project is almost completed as far as the permanent structure. Well Site 3, they have determined that they can rectify the situation. They have 2 chemical options that they're looking at. When we were talking about pH before, talking about water pH, basically the water is too flat, so to speak. So they're looking at which option is the most cost effective, and because both are safe additives to the water, but which one's the most cost effective, because they're going to have to add a insertion system onto the pump, and we'll probably have one at Well Site 4 as well by the time they finish. That will put that additive into the water. That when people were complaining when we originally connected it and the water felt, they were saying almost greasy or filmy. Basically, it's almost like if you think about your pool when you check your pH level. And if we go back to, I guess, our early stages of chemistry, you talk about acids and bases. They're having to add acid to it to get the pH level where it needs to be, so it is good. It's always been safe to drink, but it didn't necessarily get your soap out of your hair and stuff. So we took it offline to get this rectified, and they should have that done here in the next couple of weeks. They've got it finalized down to those 2 additives that they're determining which one will be the best. One additive, the pros and cons, one additive, there's far less of it that goes in than the other additive, but the other additive is less expensive, so we're trying to figure out which is the best one as far as doing what we need it to do and being able to sustain that long term, and how long that system can operate without having to be replaced. So that's where we are on that project. The wastewater treatment plant upgrade project is behind schedule, but should be wrapping up. They're waiting on supply chain issues as the contractor. So the contractor's waiting for some equipment to finalize that project, and then that project will be completed as well. The water meter replacement project, I think we're meeting on the 12th. With the engineers and looking at proposed candidates for the contractors for replacing the water meters for the town. Since there's so many people in here, I'll cover this real quick. The reason we're replacing water meters for the town is they all have batteries in them, and they project the readings, and our guys go out and read them. Those batteries have a life expectancy and are not replaceable. That life expectancy is typically 10 years. Those meters have been in the ground over 15. So we are past due for replacing those meters so we can have the system be more effective, because currently our guys are having to go out and manually read over 40% of the entire system. So it is not, it's not conducive to, yeah, exactly. So that project on the 12th will be meeting. Hopefully we'll have enough bids that we can award that and we can move forward with replacing those meters. Do not have any updates from DOT as far as, I know that, the roundabout, they're not up there anymore, but they haven't told us when they're going to come back to finish it. We're seeing a little paving going on, but you all know, as we've been through this and other things, they limit the amount because they don't want to get, I guess, kind of in a window where everybody's anticipating they will complete it on that date, because I think they're trying to give themselves a cushion. But it's still ongoing. That's all I can tell you at this point as far as the DOT project. Other than that, I'll take any questions. Kyle? Yeah, I don't know that Kyle is here, and I wouldn't have known it if he had been with everyone that's in here. That's a good point, Mayor. Let's talk about that. Kyle Duncan, who was the director for the county, now works for us, He's doing our inspections, and we have notified the county that we will be taking back inspections for construction to the town and doing it internally. We had to give him 30 days notice, and Kyle is I'm so glad that he's here because he's taking that responsibility off my back, and now he's doing a great job. He's dealing with code enforcement, zoning, and inspections, and we're glad to have him.
Kyle was with us, 2000, him and Darren left at the same time, but now, went to Whiteville. But Kyle Duncan is back with us, and he will be doing our building inspections and
I tried to get him 3
taking
years.
some burden off the town manager.
I tried to get him back 3 years ago, and he said no, and then I kept on, and we're just glad to have him.
Yeah.
He is a great addition to our team, and he's very proficient in what he does. He knows most of the people in the community, and he's the kind of guy that tries to find a yes for people and doesn't just shut them down and say, no, you can't do that. He's going to fit well with our team, and I think that
the old, I like to say, the common sense approach.
Yeah, glad to have him. Thank you for bringing that up and reminding me.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Questions were supposed to be asked beforehand.
I just want to know when he's coming back.
He's back. He's back.
So when do I start pulling permits here instead of?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Start July 1st.
July 1st.
July 1st.
Construction permits July 1st,
You're good.
but
Thank
zoning
you.
permits and everything.
I'm looking piping, gas
Oh,
piping. I ain't
gotcha.
here
This is your
nothing.
propane man.
Okay. But if you want to see him, he'll be here tomorrow. He
I
is.
got his phone number, I called him.
All right.
If any of the commissioners don't have anything further, we will motion to, hold on a minute. Should we say anything about this guy standing right here at the door yet, or just wait, or? No,
I don't believe nothing needs to be said.
He's just getting old.
we won't have another meeting.
No, you're right.
We'll
Hey,
get back maybe in
please,
August.
please,
Come on in, go ahead.
please. And he hit back there.
I was worried if you were still here or not. I was sitting there
He's
thinking,
hiding.
oh, Scott, whatever. So Scott has been with us for how long?
26 years.
26 years, and we got a deal planned for Scott next week, but it's our town meeting tonight. Scott's been here 26 years. He's been an asset to the community. I'm gonna start crying. Been a good friend of mine, and we're gonna miss you, but you deserve retirement. 26 years in town, like Waccamaw, all you've had to deal with it.
I haven't waved the white flag yet.
Yeah, waved the white flag yet.
I have not accepted he's fully leaving.
Right.
What I wanted to know is the door's open for opportunities. So if he decided he wanted to still be a part of the family, so.
But we do have an official deal for Scott next week, so that being said, I want to bring you out.
It's been an honor and a privilege. It's my last board meeting, and y'all made it exciting one. So.
Last day 27.
Last day of 27.
And Scott, also, I'd like to add, and some of you may have met her at the at Gator Fest, the cadet that's going to be joining our force. She's graduating tonight, and Scott chose to be here tonight with us because of the festivities. And so we sent other representation to her graduation, but Scott chose to be here with us as opposed to going to her graduation night and made that sacrifice. So, Scott, thank you.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. We're proud of her too. I think she'll be a great asset.
Thank you. Looking forward to next week. All right. I didn't know if he was still here or not. I'm glad all right. Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Motion, second. All in favor? And if anybody wants to talk to me, one-on-one, whatever, I will be here a few minutes. I'm glad to talk to you.